In this video, we are going to cover the details of what the AUTOWAKE instrumentation is showing you, how to maximize your wave using this instrumentation, and then give some examples of alternative ways to use the system. Let's get into it. First, we will start with the concepts of how waves are created. There are two most important things when building a wake or a wave. Number one, and most important, is how much weight is in the boat. The more weight in the boat, the bigger the wave will be, and generally the more push that you will have. Number two is the boat's position, or the angle that the boat is running at. The angles of the boat will decide the shape of the wave. We mention these things because this is exactly what AUTOWAKE is showing you. Let's look at the amplitude display, as it is suggested to mentally divide this bar into thirds and correlate these sections with the wave size. On the MOOMBA 7-inch screen, there are 3 shades of blue on this bar that will help with that. The lower third of the bar will represent a small or a beginner wake. The middle of the bar represents a medium or an intermediate size wake. The top third represents an advanced or a large wake. There are arrows on each side of the amplitude display. On the left is the potential arrow. This arrow shows you how big your wake can get based on the current passenger or gear load, plus if all the ballast in the boat is filled to 100%. The arrow on the right is the actual arrow, representing how big your wake can be at that moment based on your current passenger load and how much factory ballast is full. It should be a goal to get the actual arrow as close to the potential arrow as possible so that you are setting up the biggest wake possible for your current load that day. Now let's take a look at the amplitude number. You can adjust this from 0 to 100. Think of this sort of like a volume knob, like on a radio. The more you turn it up towards 100, the bigger the wake or wave will be. If you turn it down, it will decrease the size of the wake or wave, but still maintain shape. The amplitude number limits the amount of ballast filled that correlates to the amplitude number selected. Most of the time when surfing, you want this at 100. This number is also tied to your amplitude preset on MOOMBA's 7-inch screen. For example, if you choose the 50% amplitude preset on the MOOMBA 7-inch screen, the amplitude number will change to 50%. Next are the pitch and roll displays. Here you should trust that the factory pitch and roll presets will give you very nice wakes and waves, assuming that the system is calibrated correctly. When the system is filling or adjusting, the horizontal bar is orange and the system is still trying to achieve the angle that it needs. When it turns from orange to green, it has achieved. Again, boat positioning is very key in creating great wakes. Now with the understanding of what the dash is showing you, you can now try to optimize your wave by reading this instrumentation. As we said earlier, weight in the boat is always the most important thing. So if we see the AUTOWAKE system draining ballast in order to achieve a pitch and roll setting, we can do certain things to help the system achieve and maintain as much ballast as possible. For example, if you are surfing on the port side of the boat and you see that AUTOWAKE is draining ballast on that same port side, you should move a passenger from the port side more to the middle or the starboard side of the boat so that AUTOWAKE can achieve the preset pitch and keep as much ballast as possible on board. Another example, if you are again surfing on the port side and you see that AUTOWAKE is draining ballast on the starboard side, you should move a person from the starboard side or the middle of the boat to more towards the port side so that it can achieve roll and maintain ballast on board. Last example. Again, you are surfing on the port side and you see that AUTOWAKE is draining bow ballast. You should move passengers from the bow or the middle section of the boat more towards the rear of the boat. This will allow the boat to achieve the preset pitch and maintain as much ballast as it can. That's a wrap for video number 2. Hopefully you now have a better understanding of how to read the AUTOWAKE instrumentation and maximize your wave every time you take the boat out. Tune in for video number 3 as we go deeper into some tips and tricks. We hope that you now have a better understanding of AUTOWAKE and ultimately have a better time on the water creating and riding great wakes and waves. If you have any other questions, we encourage you to contact your servicing dealer. Thanks, and see you on the water.